So I rushed myself to the hospital and my blood pressure was like 186 over 125. Hi. Hey, all my YouTube family. Welcome to my channel, The Culinary Broker. But for this series, we're gonna call it the Black Comfy Couch Conversations. Cause I'm on my black couch and it's comfy and we're about to have a conversation. So let's get into it. I'll say hi to your Neff Pup. Your Neff Pup, Ryder Bo. He's obsessed. But the reason why I'm starting this series, because this series, although I started my channel to talk about real estate, my real estate course, to talk about culinary, these two things that I love, I want to just, those are just parts of me, and I just want to be DT. DT isn't real estate all the time, and DT isn't food all the time, even though I love to eat. I want this series of my channel to just simply be about me, DT. Real life conversations, real life situations, and another way for you guys to get to know me. We all know that life isn't all sugar and spice and everything nice, and we go through real things. So I just wanted to be open and just be free to be me and just talk about some of the things that I'm going through currently. For those of you who don't know, it'll be a year this year that I went through some things regarding my health. And it started, well, the actual surgery took place, the first one, August 23rd of last year. But it had been going on for a little while. It just started to progress between June and August, like very rapidly, and then things just got out of control. But I had surgery August 23rd. He thought we were going to be removing a ovary and a fallopian tube on my right side. And I was okay with that because my mother had me and my sister with one ovary. So I was like, okay, one ovary gone. If that's what I have to do, I will do that because I know that I can still have children. And no matter what, I believe in the Lord, and miracles happen. So I was okay with that. When the doctor got into, when I actually had the surgery, they got into, my pelvic cavity. He basically didn't see my reproductive organs at all because it was covered by a large cyst. And what brought me to the doctors was, first of all, I hadn't had my cycle for like 6 months. And I was like, I used to go every 3 weeks, so why is this happening? And you guys, I was always health conscious about things. I had just decided to go vegan and kind of get a little bit more like extreme and more intentional with my health, and do some juicing and all that stuff. So when she got in and saw that it was this large cyst, by the time I went to surgery, it was like 14 centimeters and it was covering everything. All she did was drain it, and the surgery was done, and they told me to wait 3 to 6 months, but I got wrong information because from my understanding, I thought everything was good. But unbeknownst to me, it was much serious than that. So I have a 6-week recovery. 4 weeks into the recovery, I do my follow-up appointment, and the cyst is back, and it's back to 8 to 10 centimeters. And I was like, my question was like, why didn't you take everything out then, or say, hey, this is a serious situation, let's go to another surgeon because this is out of my scope of duty, but let's get this out of you ASAP. That's not what took place. I had to set an appointment with the gynecologist, oncologist, and that was scheduled for October 18th of last year, 2022. I'll just go through this part of the story kind of quickly because it's a long story, and if you want a dedicated time, if you guys end up asking questions, if I even get to that point where people even see this, because I'm still growing my channel, I had an appointment with the oncologist October 18th. By then, the cyst had gotten to like 12 to 14 centimeters again, and they scheduled surgery for November 21st. When November 20th came around, and in between this time before the 20th, my limbs started to swell. My legs started to swell, my feet started to swell. I just noticed some things. So November 20th came around. I didn't have to do my hair or anything like that, so I was doing my braids so that I can prepare for the surgery on that Monday. I finished braiding my hair and my left leg had swelled up so bad. I've never even felt that before at all in life. And I was like, what is going on? And I just didn't feel right. So I was like, well, maybe if I take a bath, that'll help. That didn't help. So I rushed myself to the hospital and my blood pressure was like 186 over 125. So they rushed me back in the room. They did all these tests. They did some tests on my leg, like an ultrasound, and they took blood and all that stuff. And it came back that I had what was called DVT, deep vein thrombosis. So that was a blood clot. And the surgery was rescheduled. I was like devastated. I was like, no, we got to do this now. So once the DVT was discovered, everything went downhill. I was in a lot of pain. I'm sitting up here telling you guys this story now, but I can relive it in my head at any point in time. The pain that I felt and just the discomfort, and my stomach was growing rapidly, and I was just like, I could not sleep. Majority of my day consisted of bath, couch, manage the pain. And during this time, I was creating a course for real estate agents, trying to keep my mind busy, trying to keep my mind focused as I'm sitting up here watching my body do things that I had no control over. And it was a little scary because I didn't know what to expect. Fast forward to my birthday's in December. So I didn't really do much for my birthday because I couldn't do much. And I couldn't work, I couldn't walk, I couldn't drive, I couldn't cook for myself, I couldn't do anything. And December 20th came around, or the 19th, and I had to rush myself to the hospital again because I had severe pain on my left side. I was in the hospital for a few days and they found another large cyst. So I had these 2 large cysts that made me look like I was 6 months pregnant. I was on self-administered pain meds, and like I said, they were trying to get me home in time for Christmas, which it wasn't really fun for me. I ended up going home and all that stuff, but I like to host. I like to, take care of my family and friends when they come over and cook and do all this stuff. And I was miserable. But I just kept repeating to myself, I am healed by his stripes. We are healed. I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. And the medical field is if we're keeping it real, out here, the medical field that I am dealing with, they suck. I don't want to sugarcoat things, but I also don't want to just be negative, but I want to be honest. It sucked. I was getting forced saying, if you don't allow me to be able to, take your reproductive organs, if there's something wrong, then I'm not doing the surgery. I said, but I have these 2 large tumors that are in me, and you're talking about if I don't let you take my reproductive organs, then you're not going to do the surgery. So y'all are just going to leave me with these tumors in me, or these cysts at the time we were calling it. And I was like, what is happening? I couldn't understand how I should be making a situation that was based off of hypotheticals and nobody had real answers unless they, were inside of me. So I'm like, it was just very, very tough, to say the least. I went home, Christmas was had, I had some visitors, I had a family member that came to stay with me that I did not ask to stay with me. They exposed me to COVID, and I found out on December 31st. So I had to notify my doctors, and they said, okay, well, if it comes back positive, then we have to push your surgery to January 30th. January 16th came along. I was called by one of the fellow doctors to come in and come in early because they wanted to put this IVC filter inside of me, which they had to put it in my neck and it'll be like in front of my stomach. The anesthesiologist didn't feel comfortable putting me under if I didn't have this device, this cage, metal cage looking thing. It was like a little thing that they put inside of you. And so I went in that Friday to get it done, and that was a whole mess within itself. Then I woke up, they took a COVID test, and then they came in Saturday morning and told me that, hey, you tested positive for COVID, so we cannot do the surgery. So I was sent home. This is the second time that the surgery was pushed back, and by then I was just devastated. I was supposed to be at my best friend's wedding, so if the surgery took place when it was supposed to on the 9th, I would still be able to recover enough to be in her wedding. And with it being pushed back to the 30th, I could not. So I'm crying. I'm in pain. My mom had to come get me because, again, I wasn't driving. The last time I drove my car and drove myself in general was when I rushed myself to the hospital December 19th. That was it. And then on, I hadn't driven my car anymore. And that family member had driven my car, and then it stopped working. And that's a whole other story within itself. So after that, I said nobody can come up to my house. I need to make sure that I can have the surgery, and I want no more interruptions. So January 23rd, I had to have the procedure to have the IVC filter put in. Then after the IVC filter was put in on the 23rd, because that was a success, they put it in my neck. So that's why I have, these scars right here. They put it in my neck. I said, okay, all I have to do is get to January 30th. I get to January 30th. I make it. I'm like, okay. I'm nervous. They keep talking about me having to have a hysterectomy. And I'm just like, no, God, just speaking to the Lord, calling on the Lord. Like, did I miss something? I'm trying to hear you. I don't know if you sent me a message. You probably did. Not probably. You sent me a message and I missed it. Me thinking about being a mother. Always wanted to be a wife. Always wanted to be a mother. Always knew that that's one of the things I was born to do, be a wife and a mother. And so to have that taken away, I was like, what is happening? Had the surgery. Had to sign all this other stuff. Normally I have prayer before I go in, and I didn't have that. I tried to say a little bit of a prayer beforehand, but I was kind of so distraught. I'm like, I get, a prayer is a prayer. I was just like, Lord, just, at this point, just help me get through this. Let your glory be revealed. And it's not when we want it to be revealed, it's when he is, his timing that it will be revealed. I had the surgery. When I woke up, I was in excruciating pain. I was in pain. I was like, why does it hurt like this? I was like, this is ridiculous. So they put me back on the self-administered pain med. I say a lot. But I was on self-administered pain meds again, and the first day they were trying to have me sit in a chair. I was like, I'm not sitting in anything. I'm in pain. And it was horrible. Horrible. Then on the 1st, and I'm just, kind of breezing through things because this is already going to be a long video anyways, but on February 1st, they came in and told me that the pathology report came back as stage 2 ovarian cancer. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then they left. That was it. I'm like, Lord, what's happening? Cancer? I just started bawling. I'm like, how do I digest all this information like this? So I called my mom and told her what was said, and she rushes to the hospital, and kind of just have a moment, because like when you think of cancer, you're like, Lord, this is the end of my life? I'm like, I want you to be like, well done, thy good and faithful servant. I don't think I've done everything that you've called me to do. I feel like I've been in a season of delay, and partly due to myself, and just trying to overcome a lot of stuff. But it was like, right when things started to get good, then it was like, so anyways, I'm gonna fast forward. During this, I had to stay in the hospital for 7 days because I was in a lot of pain and my bowels weren't working the way they were supposed to. I couldn't eat for 3 days, no water, no food for 3 days. When I got out of the hospital, I was so skinny, y'all, and I lost weight so abruptly. I was like 193 going in, and coming out, I was like 163. And had to have a blood transfusion and all that stuff. So when I get home, that is the recovery day, the recovery time. That's when it starts. And doing this stuff, I wasn't alone because my mother stayed the first week, and I have a support system that checks on me. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this story up. If you want a part 2, or you're interested in knowing more about me, and you're enjoying, or this is the start of, and you're enjoying the big black comfy couch conversations with DT, the culinary broker, then drop a comment. But I want to leave you with this, because we're going to go through things all the time, and as one of the great prophets of our time, because I don't know any other prophets besides the one in the Bible, but he is definitely a great man of God, as he has taught us in many of his wisdoms and teachings from the Lord, that what song are you going to sing during your tumultuous times? Are you going to sing the tune of the situation, what the enemy wants you to sing, or are you going to sing a song of praise and sing a song of victory, the one that our Lord has for us? And no matter how hard things get, you guys, you have no idea what I'm going through at this moment. I'm going to continue to sing a song of praise, a song of victory, because God is not a man that he should lie. So no matter what it looks like, no matter how hard it is right now, or for you that you're going through, if you're going through things right now, no matter how hard it is, understand that you have the victory. We have the victory. And I know that troubles don't last always, and things will be changing very soon. They've already changed. The physical got to match up with the spiritual. So until next time, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'm happy to tell more of the situation of what's going on, what I'm conquering, what I'm overcoming, and thank you for tuning in.